Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches: Miami Heat vs Minnesota Timberwolves, Charlotte Hornets vs Orlando Magic, Milwaukee Bucks vs Houston Rockets, and Dallas Mavericks vs Cleveland Cavaliers, which are happening on Friday, May 7, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes. Let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out my Patreon in the link down below. So I am going to start off by talking about the Miami Heat versus Minnesota Timberwolves match. We are already seeing the vision for the team coming together late in the season, with guys finally getting healthy. However, the defensive concerns still linger, with the team dropping back-to-back losses in games they've allowed 139+ points in. It's hard to win in this league when giving up that many buckets on the defensive end of the floor. Perhaps the only positive takeaway is the fact that they're still keeping games close. They dropped a 139-135 loss at home to the Memphis Grizzlies on Wednesday. The Heat were the surprise team last season that went on a run all the way to the NBA Finals in the bubble. They got hot late and somehow managed to fight their way through the other Eastern Conference contenders. In their last 6 outings, they have managed to upend the Golden State Warriors and Utah Jazz twice, 2 playoff teams in the Western Conference. However, even in their recent losses to the Grizzlies and Pelicans, they are still putting up outrageous offensive numbers to keep games within reach. That should be no problem against a Heat team missing Victor Oladipo, and possibly even Jimmy Butler and Tyler Herro. Miami has dominated on the defensive end of the floor, but they have a glaring need for an elite scorer on their roster. At the end of the day, the NBA is still an offensively driven league. If you can't get buckets, you can't win championships. The Timberwolves are terrible defensively, but they have the firepower to put the Heat on the ropes. The Timberwolves are 3-0-1 ATS in their last 4 road games and 5-2-1 ATS in their last 8 games overall. The Heat are 4-1 ATS in their last 5 games, playing on 2 days rest, and 0-4 ATS in their last 4 Friday games. The under is 7-3 in Timberwolves' last 10 Friday games. The over is 7-0 in Heat last 7 overall. The Timberwolves are 3-1-1 ATS in the last 5 meetings in Miami and 4-0-1 ATS in the last 5 meetings. The Miami Heat are averaging 107.1 points on 46.3% shooting, allowing 107.6 points on 45.5% shooting. The Minnesota Timberwolves are averaging 111.6 points on 44.6% shooting and allowing 118.1 points on 48.3% shooting. My betting advice for that game is to pick Minnesota Timberwolves +6. Now I'm going to be talking about the Charlotte Hornets vs Orlando Magic match. Orlando had won 3 of 4 before getting absolutely clobbered by Boston at home Wednesday night. The Magic have been eliminated from playoff contention, one of 3 teams from the Eastern Conference to be taken out of the picture. Against Boston, Orlando never led, and their lone tie after the opening bucket was at 2. The Magic gave up an 11-0 run to trail 13-2 and never recovered. They trailed by 12 after 1 quarter, by 18 at the half, and by as many as 36 en route to the loss. Orlando shot 38.8% from the field, including 6 of 25 from 3-point range, and allowed Boston to shoot 53.1% in the game. Dwayne Bacon and Mo Wagner each had 20 points in the loss to lead the Magic. Charlotte was in action at home Thursday night as they hosted the Bulls, so they're playing the second game of a back-to-back here. The Hornets entered Thursday 3rd in the Southeast Division standings, 4 games behind the Hawks. In the Eastern Conference playoff picture, the team stood 8th, 12.5 games behind the 76ers for the top spot and 5.5 games clear of 11th place Toronto to stay in the field. They were 2.5 games behind 6th place Boston for the final guaranteed spot in the postseason field. Charlotte is 6-8 in the second game of back-to-back situations this season. They average 110.1 points per game while allowing 111 points per contest in those outings. The Hornets are 17-14 at home this season with a plus 1.2 PPG scoring differential, 108.7 PPG for, 107.5 PPG against. Entering Saturday, Charlotte is 19-19 against Eastern Conference teams with a minus 1.1 PPG scoring margin, 108.5 PPG for, 109.6 PPG against. This season, the Magic are 2-6 ATS in their last 8 games playing on 1 day's rest and 3-7-1 ATS in their last 11 games overall. The Hornets are 2-5 ATS in their last 7 games playing on 0 days rest and 1-4 ATS in their last 5 games overall. The over is 7-1 in Magic last 8 overall. The under is 22-8 in Hornets last 30 overall. The under is 22-8 in Hornets last 30 overall. The over is 5-2 in the last 7 meetings. Orlando is dealing with a slew of injuries in what has been another lost season, and we just saw them get walloped at home by Boston. The Magic is eliminated from playoff contention while Charlotte is trying to maintain at least the 8th spot in the playoff picture to give themselves 2 shots in the play-in tournament. My betting advice for that game is to pick Charlotte Hornets -9. Now I am going to be talking about the Milwaukee Bucks versus Houston Rockets match. Houston has dropped 3 consecutive games since the victory over the Bucks. Last time out for Houston they were defeated by the 76ers 135-115. Milwaukee is enjoying a 4-game winning streak after defeating the Washington Wizards 135-134 on Wednesday night. Since the Rockets' last victory, which was over the Bucks, Houston has dropped 3 straight games. They last lost by 20 points to the 76ers on Wednesday. Prior to that, they lost by 25 points to the New York Knicks, and the game prior to that the Rockets lost by 26 points to the Warriors. Houston is 8-23 on the road this season, and in games decided by 10 points or more, the Rockets are only 8-35. The Rockets won the last matchup 143-136 behind Kevin Porter's 50 points. Over the last 10 games for Houston, they are 2-8, averaging only 106.3 points per game while allowing opponents to average 116.1 points per game. The Houston Rockets are averaging 107.8 points on 44.1% shooting and allowing 115.7 points on 47.5% shooting. Christian Wood is averaging 21 points and 9.6 rebounds while Kelly Olynyk is averaging 18.6 points and 3.5 assists. The Milwaukee Bucks have already clinched the Eastern Conference Central Division. The Bucks currently trail the 76ers by 3 games in the East for the number 1 seed in the East. Milwaukee will be looking to extend their 4-game winning streak to 5 games when they take on the Rockets tonight at home. The Rockets are 14-41 ATS in their last 55 games playing on 1 day's rest and 16-35 ATS in their last 51 games overall. The Bucks are 4-1 ATS in their last 5 home games and 4-1 ATS in their last 5 games playing on 1 day's rest. The over is 5-1 in Rockets' last 6 road games. The under is 6-2 in Bucks' last 8 overall. The under is 5-1 in the last 6 meetings. My first betting advice for that game is to pick Houston Rockets plus 16.5. The Milwaukee Bucks are averaging 119.6 points on 48.6% shooting and allowing 113.4 points on 45.4% shooting. Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging 28.4 points and 11.1 rebounds while Chris Middleton is averaging 20.4 points and 5.5 assists. Drew Holiday is the 3rd double-digit scorer and Brook Lopez is grabbing 4.9 rebounds. The Milwaukee Bucks are shooting 39.3% from beyond the arc and 75.9% from the free throw line. The Houston Rockets are averaging 107.8 points on 44.1% shooting and allowing 115.7 points on 47.5% shooting. Christian Wood is averaging 21 points and 9.6 rebounds, while Kelly Olynyk is averaging 18.6 points and 3.5 assists. My second betting advice for that game is to pick over 230. Now I'm going to be talking about the Dallas Mavericks versus Cleveland Cavaliers match. Cleveland suffered their 8th straight loss and their 11th defeat in the last 12 games as they were clobbered by Portland at home Wednesday night. The Cavaliers have been eliminated from playoff contention as they stand tied for 13th with Orlando entering Thursday night. Against Portland, Cleveland was within 1 after the opening quarter and trailed by 10 at the half. The Cavaliers got no closer than that in the second half as the Trail Blazers outscored them 74-48 after halftime to bury the hosts. Cleveland shot 40.2% from the field, including 13 of 38 from three-point range, and allowed Portland to shoot 57.6% in the contest. Kevin Love led the Cavaliers with 18 points and 8 rebounds in the loss. Kevin Love led the team with 18 points, 8 rebounds and 2 assists. Dean Wade added 16 points on 5 of 6 shooting off the bench, while Colin Sexton chipped in with 15 points and 4 assists. As a team, the Cavaliers shot just 40% from the field and 13 of 38 from the three-point line as they fell behind by 10 points at halftime, before getting blown out in the second half where the Trailblazers poured on 74 points. Dallas was at home against Brooklyn Thursday night, so this is the second game of a back-to-back situation for them. The Mavericks entered Thursday leading the Southwest Division by 4 games over the Grizzlies. In the Western Conference playoff picture, the team stood 5th, 10.5 games behind the Jazz for the top spot, half a game ahead of the 7th-place Trailblazers in a battle for a guaranteed playoff spot, and 7.5 games ahead of the 11th-place Pelicans to remain in the playoff picture. Dallas is 6-8 in the second game of back-to-back situations this season. They average 108.8 points per game while allowing 111.9 points a night in those situations on the year. The Mavericks are 17-15 at home this year with a minus 1.1 PPG scoring margin, 110.5 PPG for, 111.6 PPG against, entering Thursday. Dallas is 17-9 against Eastern Conference teams with a plus 1.7 PPG scoring differential in those contests. It's a classic case of two teams headed in opposite directions, as the Mavericks have been playing well and are looking to build towards the playoffs, while the Cavaliers have won just one of their past 12 games with nothing to play for at this stage of the season. Cleveland has lost 8 straight and 11 of 12, including a 36-point shellacking at the hands of Portland on their own floor Wednesday. The Cavaliers are missing several key contributors from their rotation, and they have been brutal on the road this season. Cleveland has their work cut out for them here, and even with the Mavericks fatigued, you can't put any stock in the visitors. My betting advice for that game is to pick Dallas Mavericks minus 10. Good luck to all of you. That's it for this video. Stay tuned and stay safe for the next betting tips and advice.